This wasn't a warning. This wasn't diplomacy. This was the moment the United States moved a 100,000-ton message straight into the Persian Gulf. After Iran struck an American tanker, the response didn't come from a podium. It came from the sea. The order hit the USS Theodore Roosevelt without delay. No hesitation, no confusion. Sailors moved instantly, boots slamming against steel decks, gear locked in, weapons checked in silence. This wasn't preparation. This was execution, already in motion. Troops surged across the gangways, boarding fast, eyes forward, no wasted movement. They didn't know exactly where they'd be deployed, but they knew one thing. They were heading into a live combat zone. Dockside, the carrier began to wake. Massive mooring lines, thick, heavy, unforgiving, were cast off one by one. The hull slowly pulled away from the pier, a floating city of steel beginning its advance. Below deck, controlled chaos unfolded. Crates of ammunition were moved with urgency, missiles secured, supplies distributed with precision. Every action timed, every movement deliberate. Up forward, the anchor chains roared as they were hauled in, metal grinding against metal. Forward section secured. That single call echoed across the ship. It meant one thing: the carrier was ready. The bridge relayed the final command. Tugboats pushed and guided the massive vessel through the narrow harbor. Then, as open water appeared, they let go, and the carrier moved on its own. Out in the open sea, it wasn't alone. Destroyers and cruisers slid into formation, surrounding the carrier like a shield, each one armed, each one ready. This wasn't just defense anymore. This was a strike group. On the flight deck, the energy shifted. F-35 Lightning IIs and FA-18 Super Hornets stood lined in position, loaded with precision weapons. Ground crews moved fast, mounting missiles, locking pylons, checking connections. Red safety flags fluttered in the wind as final checks were completed. Engines roared to life. The air itself began to vibrate. Pilots sat in their cockpits, running through final systems checks. Eyes locked, hands steady, no room for error. Nearby, the Ospreys waited, their rotors unfolded slowly, then locked into position. Troops rushed across the deck, climbing aboard in seconds, straps secured, doors shut. One by one, they lifted into the air, heading toward escort ships, where they would take their positions protecting oil tankers moving through dangerous waters. Back on the carrier, the tempo increased. On the forward deck, catapults were ready. Jets were locked into place. Jet blast deflectors rose behind them. Pilots pushed throttles forward, full power. And then, launch. A fighter was hurled into the sky. Then another, a constant rhythm, steel and fire accelerating into the air. Within minutes, the sky was filled with American air power. The cycle didn't stop. As one aircraft launched, the next rolled into position. Reset, launch again, relentless. Then, from one of the escort cruisers, the order came. Vertical launch systems opened, and Tomahawk cruise missiles erupted upward in bursts of flame and smoke. They climbed fast, then tilted forward and disappeared into the horizon, each one locked onto a different target, each one carrying precision destruction. Moments later, the fight moved deeper. A Super Hornet crossed into enemy airspace. No warning, no announcement, just entry. Inside the cockpit, the pilot's display lit up. Targets identified. Vehicles, installations, positions locked. Weapon released. The bomb fell, guided precisely to its coordinates. Impact. The explosion lit the ground below. The jet banked. Another target acquired. Another strike. Everything methodical, everything controlled, no wasted motion. Back at sea, the carrier continued its rhythm. Launch, recover, reload. Again. There was no pause, no slowdown. The air wing kept moving, feeding aircraft into the fight as fast as the deck crew could operate. Because this wasn't just a response, it wasn't just a show of force, it was a system in motion, a machine built to act fast, to strike hard, and to keep going. And once it starts, it doesn't stop.